In the headlines, Senate rejects President Tinubu's request to deploy troops to Niger. Serap sues President Tinubu over failure to publish spending details of 400 billion naira fuel subsidy savings. Chicago court dismisses Atiku's suit on Tinubu's records. And on the foreign scene, blood bank university hit as Russia-Ukraine intensify attacks. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Aisha Salihu. Many thanks for joining us at this hour. We begin the bulletin with an update on the situation in Niger, where the Nigeria Senate on Saturday urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to tow the path of diplomatic engagement in the political crisis that has engulfed neighboring Niger Republic. The upper chamber also says the letter, read by its president Godswill Akpabio on Friday, was not a call for war against Niger Republic, but the resolutions of ECOWAS leaders. The report.
Mandated its leadership to further engage with President Bola Tinubu on how best to resolve the crisis in Niger Republic in view of the cordial relationship between both countries. Akpabio explained that President Tinubu, by virtue of his correspondence, had not asked for Parliament's approval to go to war, as erroneously suggested in some quarters.
On his request for support in the implementation of the resolutions of ECOWAS on the political situation in Niger Republic, and resolved as follows. 1. The Senate condemns in totality the military coup that took place recently in the Republic of Niger. 2. The Senate commends President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and other heads of states and governments of ECOWAS for their prompt response and the positions taken on the unfortunate development in Niger Republic. 3. The Senate recognizes the fact that President Tinubu, by virtue of his correspondence, had not asked for approval of the Parliament or approval of this Senate to go to war, has been erroneously suggested in some quarters.
The Senate therefore called on President Bola Tinubu, as a chairman of ECOWAS, to further encourage leaders of both countries to explore political and diplomatic options in resolving the crisis in Niger and return the country back to democratic governance.
The Senate calls on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as chairman of ECOWAS, to further encourage other leaders of ECOWAS to strengthen their political and diplomatic options and other means with a view to resolving the political impasse in the Niger Republic. The Senate pledges the total support of the Senate and, by extension, the National Assembly to the ECOWAS leadership under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in resolving the political situation in Niger and returning the country to democratic governance in the nearest future.
It also called on ECOWAS Parliament to rise to the occasion by equally condemning the coup and also providing solutions to ending the crisis as soon as possible. Rashidat Yusuf for Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, pressure mounted on the leaders of a coup in Niger on the eve of a deadline set by the West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS, for the military to relinquish control or face possible armed intervention. Former colonial power, France, with which the junta broke military ties shortly after taking power on July 26, said it would firmly back whatever course of action ECOWAS took after the Sunday deadline expired. French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna said the future of Niger and the stability of the entire region are at stake. ECOWAS military chiefs of staff have agreed a plan for a possible intervention to respond to the crisis, the latest of several coups to hit Africa's Sahel region since 2020. And now, away from that, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit at High Court in Lagos against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the failure to publish spending details of about 400 billion naira so far saved as a result of the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol. The suit followed reports that the federal government has saved 400 billion naira within the 4 weeks following the implementation of the removal of subsidy on petrol policy. SERAP is also seeking an order of mandamus to direct and compel President Tinubu to provide details of the plans on how the savings from the removal of subsidy on petrol, including specific projects on which the funds would be spent. SERAP is also seeking an order of mandamus to compel President Tinubu to provide details of the mechanisms that have been put in place to ensure that the savings from the removal of subsidy on petrol are not diverted into private pockets. According to SERAP, Nigerians have the right to know how the savings are spent. And now, ahead of the presentation of judgment by the Presidential Election Petitions Court in Abuja in the petition filed against the victory of President Bola Tinubu in the February 25, 2023 presidential election, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in that election, Atiku Abubakar, has suffered a legal blow in the United States of America. A circuit court of Cook County, Illinois County in the U.S. has dismissed the lawsuit filed by the PDP candidate to get access to President Tinubu's confidential educational records at Chicago State University. The former vice president had filed the suit seeking to subpoena the university, but later withdrew the case. According to the circuit court papers, Justice Patrick J. Hennigan dismissed the case without prejudice. In the judgment dated July 31, 2023, the judge held that the petitioner's subpoena in this case is withdrawn, and thus Chicago State University will not be deposed pursuant to the subpoena in this case. Ruling on the matter, Justice Hennigan said the case is dismissed without prejudice and resolves all matters pending before the court. Atiku had claimed that President Tinubu did not attend Chicago State University. Meanwhile, a leading Chicago State official has again confirmed that the president is a long-time and distinguished alumnus of the university. In an affidavit, the registrar of Chicago State University, Caleb Westberg, deposed that Bola Ahmed Tinubu graduated and was awarded a degree by Chicago State University on June 22, 1979. The People's Democratic Party, PDP's Governors Forum, has emphasized the need for party discipline and reiterated zero tolerance for anti-party activities and sabotage. According to the party, no individual or group of individuals will be allowed to undermine the unity of the party and its processes. These were part of the communique issued at the meeting of the PDP Governors Forum with PDP presidential candidate and party leadership this Saturday in Abuja. The party reiterated its commitment to repositioning and stabilizing the party, adding that a healing and reconciliation process is in progress and yielding results. According to the communique cited by Trust TV, governors and organs of the party remain solidly behind the PDP presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar, and his running mate Ifeanyi Okowa in their quest to reclaim the party's mandate in the tribunal, and will do everything lawful towards achieving this. The party advised President Tinubu and the government not to go into any form of war with the Republic of Niger over the recent military coup in the country, but rather employed dialogue and diplomacy to address the situation. Artisans in Bauchi State have decried the dearth of menial jobs due to the prevailing economic situation in the country. They spoke in Misau local government area of the state following the rising cost of living occasioned by the fuel price hike. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the report.
As the rising cost of living continues to bite harder, some youths in Misau local government area have resorted to going out every morning in search of menial jobs to earn a living. According to them, they said jobs were easy to come by have suddenly become very rare. They appeal to governments at all levels to do the needful in order to alleviate their sufferings. Naam. I reside at Mangari community here in Misau. We usually go out to look for menial jobs because after finishing school, we are jobless. If we remain at home, we will be labeled thieves. So we decided to come to the main road and scout for jobs. Despite the economic hardship, we are still waiting for somebody to hire us as laborers to work for the day. Since we came out in the morning, we have not been able to convey any passenger. How can we survive like this? We can only pray and beg our leaders to come up with measures to address the present situation. If not, we are all doomed. Everyone you see here has one business or the other, but because we can no longer sustain them, that is why we resort to doing Okada. Malam Mohammed, 52, also shared his current experience as a result of the economic challenges. I'm a butcher in this town. I used to slaughter 15 to 20 animals before, but now things have changed to the extent that I am struggling to feed myself, 2 wives and 15 children. We are begging the authorities to end the hardship we are facing. Although the government at the center as well as state governors have promised to roll out palliatives to reduce the current hardship, many here want the rollout hastened. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
And now to the industrial action in the health sector. Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has issued notice of the decision of the National Executive Council of the association to embark on a daily peaceful protest and picketing of the Federal Ministry of Health, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, as well as federal and state tertiary health institutions nationwide, with effect from Wednesday, August 9. According to a statement signed by the association's president, Dr. Ojiemeka Innocent, and Secretary General, Dr. Chikezie Kelechi, said the move became necessary to press home their demands, which they say have been largely neglected by the parent ministry and the federal government. They said they are paying that rather than make genuine and concerted efforts to resolve the challenges that led to the industrial action. Despite repeated ultimatums, the government has chosen to demonize Nigerian resident doctors instead, despite their sacrifices and patriotism. The association, therefore, resolved that it is time the whole world hears their side of the story, the decay and corruption in the health sector, as well as the neglect the public health institutions have suffered all these years that led to repeated industrial actions. The management of the National Youth Service Corps has appealed to Nigerians to disregard a video circulating on the social media alleging that Corps members would be deployed to Niger Republic by the federal government to restore democracy in the country. NYSC Director, Press and Public Relations Eddie Megwa, in a statement in Abuja, said that there was no iota of truth in the story, adding that it was fabricated by the purveyor. He added that law enforcement agencies would stop at nothing to bring the purveyor of the story to justice. You're watching the news update on Trust TV, coming up shortly. We'll take a look at Negative effect of price hike on women. Details of this story and more to come after the break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Let's take you on a ride through a series of colors, events, concerts, and lots more. Are you planning an event? EventScope has you covered. Make Trust TV your #1 choice to cover your event. Call 080-3591-0553. EventScope, making your event classic. Follow us on all of our social media platforms at Trust TV News for latest updates on EventScope.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at some of our major stories. We told you that Senate rejects President Tinubu's request to deploy troops to Niger Republic. Plus, Serap sues President Tinubu over failure to publish spending details of 400 billion naira fuel subsidy savings. And now moving on to more stories, the Abia State government will on Monday embark on the verification of all local government employees in the state. Head of Service Joy Maduka, who announced this in a statement, said it is in continuation of the initiative by Alex Ortiz administration to bring all state, local government, parastatals, state-owned tertiary institution workers, including pensioners, into one single database. She said the development would forestall any irregularities in administration of both human resource and payroll process in the state. And now to health matters. One of the easiest ways of maintaining personal hygiene among women is the use of sanitary pads. However, in recent times, users in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, have been complaining of the high cost of pads, a situation they say may deal a negative blow to their personal hygiene. Jimmy Azande reports.
According to the women, sanitary pads are a basic need and not a want that is becoming out of the reach of many due to persistent increase in price.
It is true that the prices of sanitary pad have increased and is telling on our girls right now. It is very sad that some people have to even drop to as low as using pieces, which is very unhealthy. But do they have the choice in a community like this? And with the recent removal of subsidy, the price of everything is on the high side. And the most funny part of it is that salaries are not increasing, no means of, especially for students that solely have to depend on their parents.
As a result of the high cost, some have resorted to improvisation with unhygienic methods.
It has come to an notice that these materials or these pieces of clothes can lead to infection because of the constant usage of these materials. And even when these materials are washed, they are not kept in the open for sun, and they are kept in an enclosed area where sun cannot shine on them or penetrate through. And with that, they develop fungi and bacteria, and at the end of the day, it causes infection.
They urge the government to assist women in this all-important aspect of their lives.
So my own idea, or what I'm trying to say, or like I'm trying to talk about, is we are pleading, I'm also pleading with the government that they should at least reduce some prices of things, so that people that doesn't have money or don't have much will be able to like afford these things and then take care of themselves. Or better still, people that have money, like rich people, even if you are not rich but you can afford this, I think it's very nice for you to like get away to buy all these things for those that cannot afford it, so that they can at least take care of themselves.
We stand to enlighten on the sanitary pad, which its price has gone up, and I am here to enlighten young men and older men out there that it isn't a bad thing or morally infuriating something to purchase these pads for women or girls who need it, saying that the price has gone up.
Some of the women who preferred not to be captured on the camera said many of their folks use unimaginable items to help themselves instead of the sanitary pads. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
And now on the foreign scene, a blood transfusion center, a university and an aeronautics facility in Ukraine have been damaged in deadly air raids as Russian and Ukrainian forces escalated their attacks following a strike by Kyiv on a Russian tanker in the Black Sea. The attacks late on Saturday came as senior officials from 40 countries, including China, India, and the United States of America, held talks in Saudi Arabia on how to end the war in Ukraine. A final declaration is not expected from the two-day meeting. Ukrainian officials blamed Russia for the attack on the blood center in the eastern town of Kupiansk late on Saturday, while Moscow-installed officials accused Kyiv of using cluster munitions to damage a university in the Russian-controlled Donetsk region. And finally, to sports news, Dillian Whyte has returned an adverse finding from a doping test, causing his heavyweight rematch against Anthony Joshua on 12 August to be cancelled. The Voluntary Anti-Doping Association informed promoters, Matchroom, and boxing authorities of the test result. Joshua, 33, could still fight at London's O2 Arena if a new opponent can be found. The fight between Joshua and Whyte, a rematch of their 2015 bout, was announced a month ago. Joshua knocked out Whyte in the 7th round of their heated British title fight 8 years ago, which also took place at the O2, as he avenged a loss to his rival on the amateur circuit. Whyte, who lost his only world title challenge to Tyson Fury in 2022, beat Joshua by decision as an amateur in 2009 to start what became a bitter rivalry. Olympic gold medalist Joshua went on to become a two-time world champion. Joshua gained revenge when the pair met again as professionals in December 2015, being rocked in the second round, but recovering to force a stoppage in the 7th. Whyte had a doping violation charge dropped in 2019 after UK anti-doping said the levels of a banned steroid were very low and he was not at fault. He served a 2-year suspension from 2012 to 2014 for taking an illegal supplement. A tribunal accepted Whyte's claim he did not knowingly take methylamine, but he said did not do enough to check the supplement's ingredients. 4-time Olympic champion Simone Biles has made a triumphant return to gymnastics after a 2-year break. The 26-year-old American thrilled the Chicago crowd with a stunning display to win the U.S. Classic in her first event since the Tokyo Olympics. Biles announced in 2021 she was taking a break to work on her mental health. Biles was given a rapturous reception at the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, and won with an all-round score of 59.100 points. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust TV News Update at this hour. Do not forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thanks for your time.